message endlessly about this Kanye review, not review. You know what I'm saying? And you know, to bring up a point, I know somebody who is dealing with a neurological disorder, and one of the things that they do frequently, occasionally I'll help them and I'll go with them to do like their MRI or some shit like that. And every now and again they may show signs of like lesions or like white like plaque, on their MRI. And there are certain behavioral patterns, I guess, that are or have been explained when I'm in their presence or when I'm around them, that I don't know why niggas is being such weirdos. Holy fuck. There may be certain things that are explained in my presence from a doctor that's around them. Okay, bro. I'm not. I gotta give it a second. Appreciate you though, Sakani. I completely heard what you said. That might be explained to me, or explained to them, and I might overhear. That may indicate like you might have some issues with stability when it comes to like trying to interpret certain things, or you might be a little bit more prone to not necessarily anger, but like, what is that word that I'm thinking of? Might be more prone to, it's not anger, it's just like it's like a irritable. Yeah, irritable is a better word, or agitated. Irritable or agitated, aggravation, all those types of words. You might be more prone to things like that. So I say that to say I deal with this person pretty regularly. They're a friend of mine. And so when I speak to them, sometimes there's a level of lenience, a level of consideration, a level of leeway that I might give to certain situations because I know what it is that they're going through. You feel me? And so, yeah, patience, compassion, all those words and things like that. I'm drawing a blank on those things because I actually got sleep. And for whatever reason, my brain works better when it has no sleep. So I say all that to say I can understand and recognize the compassion and the lenience that people might give a Kanye West. And it would be more understandable having that lenience if you actually knew the nigga, which most of the people that are giving him that level of compassion don't. But if you wanted to do that, I guess that's okay. And I don't really have a problem with that. The issue is outside of, his diagnosis and outside of the issues that he may face, which I don't tend to bring up because I think it's a really gaslighty thing to do. And I know people that have issues that they're trying to face take issue with the fact that some people might be in a disagreement with them, and then they throw their diagnosis in their face as a way to make them seem or appear crazy. And I never liked that. I never liked, entertaining that thought process or that mindset. So I don't want to do that ever when it comes to listening to Kanye's music. I know it's going to be a point of contention when it comes to listening to his music. I know it's going to be a point of contention when it comes to listening to his records. Beyond this point, hopefully it gets better. That's really genuinely my perspective on the matter. Before that, though, you can't just allow somebody, even if they are going through something like that, you can't allow somebody to spew like mad harmful rhetoric. It's not something that you can just simply ignore. I saw a lot of people telling me like, yo, you and this nigga Fantano, it's like mad hypocritical to say that, oh, you don't agree with the things Kanye is doing, but you platformed him, you had to talk about him anyway. Like, if you have a platform or any level of influence and you have the opportunity to push back against somebody that has harmful ideas, that's a billionaire, that has ridiculously high levels of influence, they have a massive platform themselves, they're putting that type of shit in their music, and you don't push back against it, what service are you doing with your own platform to not talk about it? How does that make you a morally inconsistent person to push back against those ideas? Why would you not use that as an opportunity to say, no, actually, this nigga's actually fucking wrong. This person is actually incompetent. This person actually doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Why would you allow them to continue to further spread misinformation? That doesn't make any sense. You have to push back. There's no reason for you not to push back against that. So I just wanted to say that as a prerequisite or like a precursor before we start this review. So I already know it's going to be a point of contention. Oh, he's not talking about the music. He's not talking about this. He's talking about Kanye's actions. Well, you have to talk about it. You don't have a choice but to talk about it. You don't. That's just the way it is. I want to see what he had to say. I didn't listen to the album. We heard 3 songs. So once we get to the review part of the album, I'm obviously not going to have much to say. You feel me? So it is what it is. His face is crazy right now. I think that's fucking hilarious, to be honest. We going to see, though.
This is completely unreviewable trash, and here's why. Question.
Okay, I didn't expect that starting off. We 5 seconds in. Holy shit.
What is even the purpose of a music review in the first place? I can say, at least in terms of my own intent, that when I do a music review, I hope to achieve a couple of things. 1, give the viewer pause and cause them to think about why it is they do or don't like the piece of music or art that I'm doing an overview of. Or 2, excite people to give the music that I'm talking about a try. Those are the 2 things I want to do. Problem, neither of those goals are possible in any scenario that involves reviewing this album. Newsflash, since 2022, Kanye has made it his mission to go full-on anti-Semite, spouting insane conspiracy theories, talking about how he loves Hitler, and at some point, I think he realized how much...
And that's another thing, before I cut him off again, because I'm going to keep cutting him off. That's another thing that people also brought up as a point of contention, like, oh, you're not even Jewish. Why would you even care about this? Well, 1, I do care about bigotry. Number 1, just because the anti-Semitism doesn't affect me directly doesn't mean it's not still wrong. But even if I didn't want to take that route, he is still platformed white supremacists. He is still platformed ideas that are harmful to black people. He still started a conversation about why slavery was a choice. He still got people to talk about, well, black people ought to be doing this. People who aren't even black, now people that aren't even black have perspective on black issues where they otherwise shouldn't, because Kanye feels like, or he's filled them with this idea that they have a perspective or they can give themselves a voice in the conversation that they're not even being affected by. There's mad people that have felt empowered to speak about black shit because Kanye has given them like a level of authority in their mind to speak on anything ignorantly for whatever reason. Like the shit that Kanye has done affects you too if you are black. Yes, it does. It's not just about anti-Semitism.
Much he fucked up with all of that. So now he has to own this total dumpster fire he's created and boast about how people think he's anti-Semitic now, because yeah, they do. Even if he does genuinely apologize and change his behavior past this point, his public image is forever altered by all of this. I mean, you platformed a booger-eating white supremacist and have guys like this repping for you on a highway overpass. This is not a can of worms a guy like Kanye is capable of closing, not without help from someone who is willing to tell him no. But he spent this same period of time pushing away anybody who could possibly do that at this point, especially his wife, who he has now replaced with somebody who he just like kind of parades around like she's a naked body with no personality, opinion, or voice. Something that on some level I think he...
Okay, so to this point, you could very easily say that bringing up somebody's wife is out of line. You could very easily say, I'm just bringing up the issues that I know people are probably going to throw out and be like, well, you can't say this, you can't say that. I'm going to say you could bring up that as a point of contention. You could say that that's an issue. The only thing that I'm going to say in response is to say that we see what people in massive positions of power have done to the women that they are married to. We just saw it with the Diddy situation. And what the industry likes to do is they like to wait until the victim comes forward to say something about, I was mistreated, I was treated horribly. And people like to say, oh, well, 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I saw this person doing that. And then later on, you talk about how you continued to work with this person, but you only stopped once the victim came out. And you didn't have any type of moral inspiration on your own to be like, nah, this nigga's probably pretty fucked up. So I don't remember the name of the woman who said everything that she said about Diddy and shit like that. I just know that it isn't uncommon for people that have massive power and influence to abuse the people that are close to them. Not saying that that's what's happening, but I'm just saying someone could say, that's not an unfair thought process to have when it comes to, I guess, dynamics like this. I'm not saying that that's what it is. I'm just saying that it's not a far-fetched idea to entertain. That's really
he's
it.
weirdly proud of, as on the very lyrics to this record, he calls her just a reference, which is maybe one of the grossest and most dehumanizing things Kanye has said about a woman on any of his songs, and it's being directed at his wife.
I haven't seen Kanye's Instagram. No, I haven't. I don't follow him on Instagram. I don't. It's not a wise idea, I don't think. But it's not because of any stance. I don't really use Instagram like that.
Most dehumanizing things Kanye has said about a woman.
Wait, what did he say? I'm sorry, I was talking.
Which is,
my bitch look like a reference.
he calls her just.
It's not racist. It's a preference, and my bitch look like a reference. Don't know what this is referring to. I mean, I could say it's probably dehumanizing, but it's probably more of a compliment to his wife than anything.
Just a reference, which is maybe one of the grossest and most dehumanizing things Kanye has said about a woman on any of his songs, and it's being directed at his wife. So this trajectory Kanye has been on as of late has...
Is he saying he only likes white women? I guess. That's not a compliment, bro. I mean, his wife is an architect, so I mean, like I'm not trying to overanalyze the bars and shit like that, but like, it's pretty it's my wife is a reference. She's an architect. You know, she's the formula for you bitches, basically. Like, it's a compliment to the beauty of my wife. It's not. Yeah, she's an architect, whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get it. Architect, a builder, a fucking designer, whatever the case is. Like, it's a reference to her profession and obviously her looks.
Has left him with an interesting mix of fans. One, hateful psychos that actually agree with some of the stuff that he's been saying and are actually in my Twitter mentions theorizing that I'm a Jew.
I'm sorry,
It's being directed at his wife. So this trajectory Kanye has been on as of late has left him with an interesting mix of fans. One, hateful psychos that actually agree with some of the stuff that he's been saying and are actually in my Twitter mentions theorizing that I'm a Jew, and that's the reason I don't really like his recent music. Two, anonymous nihilistic teenagers that don't really think anything he says or does has any greater consequence in the world, and are most likely bored and lonely and will just defend Kanye because watching him unravel is more entertaining than most things, and I guess brings some kind of meaning to their otherwise meaningless lives. And three, cultish weirdos who parasocially obsess over him and everything he does, and would basically follow him to...
This album does not deserve this much discourse, holy fuck. But this is a testament to Kanye as a person. Like, obviously... This is why I said you can't even review the album. Well, you can, obviously. You can. But it's so hard to do so without also feeding into the discourse about Kanye. That's why I just know myself. It's just not, there's no point. I'm going to have to talk about those things. I'm going to have to keep, mentioning that. We're going to have to keep arguing back and forth with Kanye fans because... it's not going to be left alone once you talk about the things that he says in his music. Once you talk about the sharp decline in lyricism in Kanye's discography post 2015, once you talk about the sharp lack of detail and the sharp lack of care when it comes to the production value in a lot of his songs, like, that's just what it is. And once you bring those things up, the fans will pretend that those things don't exist. They'll pretend that those things don't happen. It's just the fact of the matter. And I can't have a conversation about that and then also be gaslit into believing, it is what it is. Like, I guess this is just the Kanye that we got now. Like, no, my nigga, it's clearly a difference. That's really it. Check Fantano's tweets.
Of the earth. Keep in mind, these individuals have always been in his fan base to some degree, but prior they were at least mixed in with genuine hip-hop heads. Now, these three types of people, and there is overlap between them in Kanye's fan base, don't want to hear anything critical about him at all, ever. They've opened...
Plus, he gets money off the video. How he gonna take the moral high ground? Just don't post the video. Like I said before we started this review, I already said it is the responsibility of anybody who is an active, I don't know what you want to call it, like a person who's going to go against Kanye and his ideas. It's their responsibility to speak on the things that he's wrong about. Yes, Kanye does not get to openly have a platform and be misinformed and tell people that he can do whatever he wants while also spewing misinformation and harmful rhetoric. And people who are listening just have to sit down and be like, oh, well, I guess no harm, no foul. They don't want me to review him because I'm not going to give it a positive review. So I just can't talk about any of the things that he said. That doesn't make sense. You have got to push back against those things. That's what your platform is for. That's what you've built this for a decade plus for. That's the whole reason. You don't just let somebody speak ignorantly and they have a massive audience. Oh, because you feel uncomfortable about somebody criticizing them, they're supposed to be quiet. You don't tell Kanye to get more informed on the shit that he talks about, but the people that have more information than he does about the topic have to be quiet to make you feel more comfortable. That makes no sense. That makes absolutely zero sense. But you still gonna listen to his music and keep supporting him through stream and making him richer and giving him more incentive to drop more music with no change whatsoever. People have to talk, they can do what they want. That's just what it is.
Openly rejected any good faith effort I've made to make them aware of Kanye's downward spiral into Nazi adjacent rhetoric and now imagery in the promotion of this record. The point is, there's no hope of having any level-headed conversation with somebody who is like deep into the Kanye fandom at this point. People who literally think anything and everything he does is great and will write off any bit of dissent as just being biased and unfair to him.
But I do agree with y'all. Because I think stance outside of whatever the musical quality of this album or musical enjoyment that could be taken from it, outside of some of the shit that Kanye's probably said within the music itself. I don't know how many highlights that you could probably pull from the album itself that showcase those problematic ideas. I think making a video more so centered around the issue with Kanye's fandom and Kanye right now could be better received as opposed to mixing these thoughts in with the review itself, because it coming off as a precursor to the music that you're about to talk about is going to obviously sway your opinion in one way or the other, which is, again, fair, because I'm not going to try to be unbiased when it comes to music that talks about certain shit, and it coming from an artist who puts a sour taste in my mouth about some of the shit that he talks about. That's okay. That's completely fine. But I also probably don't agree with the same sentiment that some people have been saying, that this is probably Kanye's worst body of work ever. I haven't listened to it, but I find it hard to believe.
Him as if he's Jesus Christ and can do no wrong. So yeah, there's no convincing them, which I will say is also the case for people who have left the Kanye reservation over the past several years, because there are a fair share of people who are validly pissed off about everything Kanye's been saying and doing recently and feel like it's totally beyond the pale. And even if this record was somehow good, what am I supposed to do? Tell the Jews in my audience, "Aw, come on, man, he didn't mean it. It's not."
Oh yeah, don't get started on the George Floyd thing, bro. I completely forgot about that.
So bad. He's just a little crazy, that's all. Especially since he's not doing anything to gain forgiveness. He is very apparently not sorry for anything he's been saying or doing. And the apologies he has given aren't worth a lick of shit, because he'll think nothing of saying Jesus Christ, Hitler, yay, sponsor that, not too long after. Now, there are some people who will say, Anthony, you're being unfair here. Separate the art from the artist. Come on now. You can't separate this crap from the music because it's in the music. Look at the lyrics. Read these words. They have meaning and they are saying things that are not good.
And also, what if somebody said no? What if I said no, I don't want to separate the art from the artist? No. Then what? Where does your argument fall then for people that say, you know what? That's too much. I don't want to listen anymore. You're going to make people that have a fundamental like understanding of their own morality and keep it consistent. You're going to make them switch their understanding of these things being problematic to listen to a Kanye album. It could very just be a simple no. I don't want to separate them. Now what?
Or normal. You would have to expect me to separate my brain from my skull if you think I'm just going to ignore it. I think this comment here pretty much sums things up.
He's acting like he's being forced to review this. Bro. Nobody's forcing him to review it, but you have a YouTube channel with 3 million fucking subscribers almost. Why wouldn't you try to dismantle some of the harmful rhetoric of the nigga that's talking. Why would you are a person who reviews music, why would you shy away from the album? I'm just not going to do it because I'm not going to go through the headache. And I also know it's not my only reason. But why wouldn't you? Why would a fucking person? Why would a music critic not review the album that came out from one of the biggest artists in the world? Here's the issue: the average person that works 40 hours, has multiple kids, main priority isn't now doing additional research into seeing. Hold on. If their music is ethical or not. Also, Fantano is being selective here when he's reviewed people who have been tried for murder, drug use, people who have actually murdered people and never once brought ethics into it. We all agree it's wrong what Kanye said and no way we should support it. Okay, to the people that are saying, okay, well, you've listened to murderers and you've listened to drug dealers and you listen to drug users. I think this argument is so like such an easy scapegoat. Because not only is it the largest whataboutism in the world, it's also removing any kind of nuance from the actual people in the cases of those situations. When you talk about, oh, you reviewed this person that may have murdered somebody, I need you to really like sit down and describe to me the similarities between someone who is a billionaire and has the influence of not only just the hip hop industry, the fashion industry, he has the attention of the entire world damn near when he speaks or says or does damn near anything. A level of influence that reaches far beyond any person that's committed majority of the crimes that you're talking about that Fantano might have reviewed or anybody might have reviewed. It's okay to have a problem with both of those things, but I need you to understand there are more people in the world that think racism is okay, whether it's overt or hidden, than people who believe murder is a justifiable thing. The amount of people who think some of their thought processes about certain individuals in certain corners of the world are okay or justifiable, that reach or that selection of people is far larger than the pool of people that think murder is okay. We're not arguing the same points, like, at all. I get that you saying, like, what about this? And you talked about this one positively and you didn't say anything bad about this person. But that's not the bigger point. It's just not. You're never going to have somebody arguing that Future is a good father. You're never going to have somebody arguing that Lil Durk is a morally just person that has never committed a crime in his life. You're not going to get somebody that's going to argue that point. You're just not. But people are legitimately saying Kanye got a point. People are honestly saying Kanye speaking facts. People are honestly entertaining the ideas that he's been putting in his music. People are honestly arguing that George Floyd shit from so long ago. Arguing why slavery was and wasn't a choice. Arguing why the Jews control everything. That's what they're doing. That's why it's different. It'll never be on the same level. It's just not. It's just not.
We don't care as long as the album is good. His personality and what he says doesn't matter to me. I only care about the music. How do you penetrate this level of self-imposed ignorance? This person is not listening.
A lot of teenagers treat Future as a role model when it comes to treating women not right. I'm going to tell you this right now, brother. Future is not the person that made people feel like it's okay to not treat women right. I need you to understand that ideology has existed well before Future was ever born. I need you to understand that. Also, they aren't taking him as a role model. The whole Future reading a book where he's talking about women deserve less is a fucking meme. That's not a real world perspective. And if it is, it's a perspective that has existed for eons. It's not new. Don't take my tone as if I'm mad at you either. I'm just explaining because it's tiring.
Listening to Kanye. He's not listening to anything I or anyone has to say about Kanye. And this comment was posted after the album was released, so he's apparently not even listening to the content of...
Could you not say the same thing for Kanye and his rhetoric, especially about Jewish people? No, I couldn't say. the same thing, because when you platform those ideas and people are unironically like reusing those same talking points in general conversation. Kanye right, Kanye endorses Trump, Kanye platforms Nick Fuentes, Kanye is on Alex Jones, Kanye saying that, oh, George Floyd situation wasn't that serious, Kanye saying slavery sound like a choice. Those things are significantly more harmful. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. I'm about to have a brain aneurysm, dog. Because I feel like I feel like I'm not supposed to take myself to these corners of my brain or to these corners of the world to have certain conversation. You know what I'm saying? Also, I'm not saying the average person doesn't need to make a moral decision, but I'm saying that when I go to sleep at night, my main priority isn't seeing what Kanye is doing. And if Fantano gave him a slap on the wrist, that's fine. Most people don't have enough time to have discourse about the morality behind the artist that they're casually listening to as like a background music to their day. I completely understand that. But for the people that do, and there are plenty of people who are casuals in the Kanye era that'll hear somebody push back against something that he might have said, and then they'll respond or retort with, nah, that's not even that deep, when really they're ignorant to it and they don't have the time to look into it, but they'll still say that Kanye's the GOAT. They'll still say Kanye didn't do nothing wrong, despite the fact that they know nothing about what he's talking about, nothing about what he said, or how harmful it could be, the reach that it has. That's bad. That's still bad. But I get what you're saying. Most people don't have enough time to talk about this shit. And I agree with you. The only time I talk about this shit is on stream, when I'm making a video, maybe. And even I barely have time, for real. Just being honest. From my POV, the fact that he made people who are already anti-Semitic more vocal about that, I highly doubt that he made anyone hate Jews. I'm not saying he made someone hate. You got to understand, hating people is not as overt as you seem to think. But planting seeds of bigotry is significantly easier than turning someone into a quote-unquote Jewish hater or turning someone into an overt racist. Planting seeds of bigotry is exactly what happens. That's how it starts. Not saying that it has to turn into the worst person you've ever seen or known, but those stereotypes being planted in people's minds and you just saying those little things can start conversation, what can ultimately lead to harm of a particular demographic, and that's bad. That's just bad. Wait, you ain't reading what? What? I think that's a lot. I think that's a lot.
Of the music that he supposedly cares so much about. So this argument about, I only care about the music, can't possibly be true. Especially since the music too is shit. The song Paid is one of the most unintentionally hilarious tracks I think Kanye has ever put out. It's just a crappier version of Fade. Why wouldn't you just listen to Fade? You'd have to be delusional to think anything else, especially with this trash ass verse from Ye. And Ty Dolla $ign on it is just amazing, saying that he's just here to...
That's funny. I also have grown past this, because I used to kind of say something like that too. Like, why wouldn't you just listen to this? It's so much better than this one. That's kind of taking inspiration from it. Granted, I don't know what song he's even talking about because I haven't heard it. But, I mean, people are allowed to enjoy the record even if it's produced to a lesser effect of another one, I guess.
To get paid.
I'm just trying to shoot some of the frustration a little bail.
Paid. At least he's honest. Then Back to Me with that Jay and Silent Bob chorus has to be one of the dumbest things I've heard on any Kanye album ever. I feel like I'm being punked. But naked, beautiful, big titty bitches don't just fly into the sky, you know. At least.
But Fantano is beginning grouping Kanye fans into three extremes. Is also contradicting because we are a public figure. You have a grouping of fans. Some on the extreme ride or die side. Even Fantano has those types of fans. You as a public figure have those types of fans possibly. Well, it comes to being a public internet figure. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It's not something that can be necessarily controlled. It happens on its own. Sure, you could say that. But the thing is that makes it, like, I guess, different. What the fuck? Why are you giving me an update now of all times? The thing I guess that makes it problematic is, like, if the shoe fits, wear it. Like, it's one of those situations where if it don't apply, let it fly. I feel like Like, obviously, he wouldn't be talking about every person, but he probably means the vocal majority right now, and that's really it. If you don't fit within, if you don't fit within that, then let it go. It's like the people that get upset when you might read a tweet and it's like, oh well, I think men are trash, they're garbage people. It's like, my nigga, this is not even applicable to you. So it's like, don't even entertain it. I feel like
somehow made it flow, but yeah, that dude is as good as he is at rapping. He cannot save this track. Then Hood Rat has maybe one of the most excruciatingly bad instrumentals on any Kanye album ever. The mix is a mess, and God, those repetitions of Hood Rat, Hood Rat, Hood Rat, Hood Rat. I mean, I guess it kind of drowns out all the other stuff about the track, so that's kind of a silver lining. But almost none of that matters because there is so little to praise with this record. And if Kanye's delusional fans are not hearing that this record is awful on its face as they just kind of listen to it by themselves, nothing I'm going to say is going to convince them. But if you really want a general assessment of this thing, it sounds like a slightly more finished Donda 2. Somehow Jesus is King had more songs on it that sounded more cohesive, well put together, which is saying something because that was previously Kanye's...
Do we do a Jesus is King re-listen? I haven't listened to that album in a long time. I got the vinyl for that album too, I think. I might have sold it. I don't remember. I don't know if I still got it or not. It was one record on there that reminded me of 808s and Heartbreak that I liked. I just forgot what it was called. I haven't listened to it in 5 years.
Shortest, messiest, most unhinged and crappy record yet, and somehow this surpassed it, and at least in my mind has achieved the status of being Kanye's worst album. And given that the sequel tends to be a step down from the original in Kanye's case most of the time, the rest of the Vultures series from this point is not looking good. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you. Bye.
Damn. I mean, look, I'm not going to pretend like he's wrong. Obviously, the review portion I can't speak on because I didn't listen to it, so I don't know what the music itself really sounded like. But in the beginning, at half of the situation, like, I don't feel like that's unjustifiably placed within the video. But I do feel like it could just come off better or be better received if we were doing more of a breakdown on Kanye and his fans as a whole, as opposed to including it with the album review itself. But he calls it unreviewable, so... just take it as that. I wouldn't take it as a formally reviewed record. But that's just me, Lit that niggas are up. What you mean by that? I thought the production on the Peggy songs were the saving grace of the album. Yeah, but do we really know what parts of the album, JPEG Mafia had a hand in? Or were his songs just on... where his that production just named on it
for some reason?
I think this is bushy. You do know Kanye just needs to produce for others at this point. I don't know, bro. I just don't want to. I don't want to gaslight myself into thinking that Kanye isn't getting worse, because that's all I've been hearing. You know what I'm saying? Can't speak for this album, obviously, but from the songs that I heard and from how people hyped the songs that they did tell me were the best, I can't act like he's not worsening.
Fantano's own subreddit was turning against him and calling him bad faith and a misogynist for calling Ye wife a dollar store Kim K on Twitter. It was so bad the mods privated his Reddit.
Damn. They tried to get him out of here for saying. I mean, that's still bad, I think.
I think people were more referring to his reaction to the album. Nigga spent 40 minutes arguing with fans about his and Kanye's divorce and burping in the mic saying he got indigestion from the song. It was actually trash.
Yeah. And I knew that was going to be... I didn't even want my listening experience ruined for me publicly. I just felt like it was just not a good idea to do it, especially on camera or nothing like that. Like, I haven't listened to it still, but I know I'm setting myself up for disaster doing that, and it's just not a wise idea. You feel me? You think the outlier here is that stan culture is very toxic and they should all stop putting these artists in a pedestal? Sure, you could say that, but they're not gonna. We could tell people to stop idolizing people as much as you want. It's not gonna stop. That's gonna be people need somebody to look up to or someone to admire. and that admiration turns into worship at some point. Not with everybody, but with a lot of people, and you just can't control it. Some people, you'll never be able to tell them not to look at this person as your God. Some people you just can't. But if Fantano reviewed a Nazi album, then this whole video is biased. What I have a problem with, people, is that they're taking a larger issue with Fantano than they are with Kanye. That's my actual issue with this. That's the problem I actually have. Not that Fantano couldn't be wrong, and you couldn't also say that what he said, somebody referenced what he said about Kanye's wife. You can say that those things are wrong, but making him out to be the bad guy here and the person he's talking about is the actual person that's the issue is where I have a huge issue. I don't think that is fair at all. You can say both are wrong, but you can't say one is wrong. You can't. Actually, you could say one is wrong. You could say the other maybe didn't describe the things that they had a problem with in the way that you thought was perfect.
Kanye fan here, and even I understand why someone wouldn't listen or review it.
Okay.
Jokes aside, I was talking with someone and I had to tell him that he is only going to continue to get worse.
Yeah.
I see no musical comeback for him.
I don't.
And that's sad cause I was a big fan.
You
but
just
he
like
ain't
me.
Really enjoyable anymore.
You just like me.
I mean, look at his life. He lost most of it.
You just like me. And I feel like a result of some of the production issues that I've had with Kanye recently, or when listening to his music, stem not necessarily just from him being sloppier over time, but from the loss of connection with other engineers and producers that he used to have as assets. You're acting like the lack of quality that you're hearing isn't also a result of the harmful shit that he's been saying. Even the people that he's been working with have decided, you know what, nah, we're not doing this no more. And you're hearing it in the music itself. You're hearing that lack of quality in the music and pretending that people aren't justifiably having an issue with what he's saying. Like, no, real people who've worked on real Kanye records and real music have said, you know what, it's time for me to tuck my tail and get the fuck out of here. Real people have decided that, and you're noticing a lack in quality because of that, and you just pretend it don't exist. I can't do that, bro. I'm not going to gaslight myself. I'm not going to act like it's not there. It's what happened. That is what happened. Face reality or don't. That's what happened. No verse from Pusha T. Imagine that. Imagine that.
I used to look up to Peggy that way, then he started parading this current Kanye too. Shit's sad. But Peggy was saying shit about Juice too in communist slow jams, so I guess I'm not surprised. Don't know how I'ma take Peggy's new album.
You gotta take everything with a grain of salt.
Lamau, did you see his team try to roll out the album on streaming services? The album's release on Spotify was delayed half a day.
Hey, I don't know. You know, smaller shit like that, I feel like is something that could have happened with any Kanye record, given the fact that we've never really gotten a Kanye record on time anyway, or when we were supposed to. So I feel like even if he had a whole team full of professionals, that reality was likely going to be on the horizon.
Mike Dean put his blood, sweat and tears into mixing Utopia and people still called it mid. I don't think people care that much about mixing.
I wouldn't say that. You actually hear it. Now, to the average person, yeah, you're right. Like, a lot of people don't generally care, but a lot of people do still. And you could still hear it. You can notice it. Even an average listener, if you got like any kind of time on the internet, is starting to notice like good versus bad mixing. It's not like a,
in your opinion, what's your least favorite
big
Kanye
brain concept
album?
or nothing like that. My least favorite Kanye album, probably Jesus is King. Yeah, pretty easily. And you know why. Sorry, you said please don't say Jesus is King. I had no choice. There's nothing else for me to say. What else would I say? What other album would be justifiably put at the bottom? You say Blasphemy. What else would be what else would be the worst Kanye record? Assuming that you haven't heard Vultures, because I don't know where I would rank that. I haven't listened to it. Like, There's no way you're saying The Life of Pablo. There's no way you're saying Donda. There's no way you're making it. There's no way you're saying that. Niggas are unhinged. You can't say that. Donda 2, that wasn't an official release. But I guess it did get released, though. Donda 2 might be there. That's fair. I'll take Donda 2. You can't say good ass job. It never dropped. Wait, did it? That never came out, did it? Did that come out? No, I didn't. It didn't. You're trolling. 808s is not true. I'm giving 808s respect because of how much it influenced, at the very least. I know it might not be my favorite, and it's not even a record I like that much, but it's definitely not the weakest. No way. Will I ever listen to Vultures? Maybe.
Have y'all niggas not heard Come to Life? Donda is not worse than J.I.K.
It's mad shit that Donda has. I feel like niggas is overlooking. Mad shit.
So are we listening to Beyonce country folk songs or what?
Are they out? I heard on a trailer. I saw on a trailer that she had music
Life
coming.
of Pablo is his
They're
best
out?
album. Talk to him.